Hey everybody, Chuck here once again. Now we're moving into module 4. And like always, the usual disclaimer, I understand, we all understand that it's a Chuck opinion piece, doing it to help myself prepare and as well share with you if it helps you in your preparation. So it's not ASCM sanctioned in any way, as well as we're not using any of the ASCM PowerPoints in the process. It's strictly an opinion piece. So in module 4, excuse me, we're moving into the area of assessing how the transformation went. And so one of the first things we have to look at is kind of go back and review and give feedback on the performance of the projects and the portfolio of projects. And so there's a couple elements of doing that. One is, what are the metrics we got to look at? Second one is looking at, well, what are the mechanisms that we're going to use to transform with? And finally, the third one, an assessment of, where has our maturity gone from the 5 stages we started at until today? So those are the 3 we're going to look at. So from a metric standpoint, what are some of those metrics look like? We could probably categorize them into 4, maybe 5 different categories. First one being business performance metrics. These are the ones we use for measuring business performance across all the areas, including financial and others like sustainability. A second set of metrics that we should look at is capability performance metrics. This is looking at the functional areas and the rates and of the functional areas, and actually the rates at which they're responsible for taking on, maintaining, and executing the transform processes on an ongoing basis. So in that sense, as we're trying to measure, did they stick, and then watching long-term to see if these new changes stick. Third one, change management performance, pace of change. Did we achieve the milestones? How fast? Things like that. Operational performance metrics. How well are we performing the new tasks? Could be one we could look at. And probably a couple other categories the participant guides mentions: standardization and simplification. So when we talk about standardization, we're talking about doing things similarly across tasks. So we are looking at the creation and enforcement of the processes, the guidelines, the procedures, the work instructions, the rules, the reports, and the metrics. We're looking to see if people are following the change processes and don't revert back to the way we did it the old way. Again, measurements that are part of did it stick. Simplification probably comes out of lean to some extent. Did we remove unnecessary complexity from our work, from processes? Did we make it easier for businesses to operate, streamline the experience, etc.? So there's that first part of what are the critical metrics to look at. Now we touch a little bit of tracking the mechanisms. So if we're going to track, here's some, and be effective, here's some guidelines. Must be visible, must be monitored regularly. Okay, data must be complete, data must be accurate, output must be accessible, and it's got to be accessible to the individuals responsible for the performance. Pretty fundamental stuff we talk in companies all the time. So no new surprises there, but it also reinforces we better darn well do that as well. Third part, looking at our maturity. Where are we now versus where we were? So if you think back to the 5 stages, and again, you and I know we're probably going to get some test questions, so we got to make sure we're good here. Stage 1, multiple dysfunction, or we're a reactive supply chain. Stage 2, now we're semi-functional as an enterprise. We're still reactive, but we're efficient. Stage 3, integrated enterprise. Now, instead of being reactive efficient, we are proactive efficient. Stage 4, we've moved from integrated to the extended enterprise or the extended supply chain. We're much more strategic about bringing in suppliers and customers, and we've started that process. And then stage 5, now things are considered the orchestrated supply chain. We're consistent and systematic across all of our activities. Okay, So one other thing that goes with it, with all this auditing and assessment, we also want to perform an audit to make sure the assessments are correct, and we can verify the legitimacy, the veracity, the correctness of the results of the assessment.